Welcome to another episode of Listen to Us Rant About Movies. I'm Wes Ford.
And I'm Zach Harris.
We rant about movies and drink while we do it. Tonight's episode is going to be a little different than what we usually do. We're going to discuss what we've been watching since our last episode, followed by a slew of various films we haven't ranted about yet on this show, including Lady Bird, Disaster Artist, and The Shape of Water. Those are going to be our main reviews, but we have a bunch of other ones that we've seen individually that we're going to talk about. Do know that we will be talking spoilers for our featured rant films, so you can skip ahead if you don't want to get spoiled, and you'll find a list of the films and their point in the timeline right in our show notes. This episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. You can choose from 180,000 titles from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. If you like what you hear on this episode, remember you can find other episodes of our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Now, for our drink pairing, Zach, what have we chosen for tonight?
We have the Goose Island Bourbon Original County Brand Stout.
This is a special release from Goose Island, right over in good old Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And it says to enjoy in a snifter glass. I have one. Zach has another glass that he's chosen for this.
Yeah, I don't have a snifter.
No worries, but we'll pour it in there. And it's interesting to note, though, that this is a special release brew, and it's extremely strong stout. I've poured it into the glass. It looks kind of like motor oil. It's super thick, and it's 14.7%. So it will be very strong. We may be slurring our words a little bit by the end, a little bit more than usual. And yeah, let's give it a little taste, huh?
Let's give it a little taste. Get a sip going.
Cheers.
Cheers. Whew.
It's a strong one.
Oh yeah. You can tell it's real thick. Real thick.
It's really good, though. I like it's like chocolate undertones.
I definitely enjoy it. But, whew.
Yeah, it's got like intense aromas. It's got right here on the bottle. It says charred oak, vanilla, caramel, and smoke. I taste more of a chocolate, but maybe that's a vanilla with the smoke I'm tasting.
Yeah, definitely got some smoke in there. Or maybe that's the charred oak.
Yeah. Charred oak. I love it.
Good, though.
It's very good.
Real
it's
thick.
Really good stout. Yeah. Like a lot of stouts, you're more of a stout boy than me. We've talked about this on the show, but sometimes, like, some stouts I'm not crazy about because it's almost like drinking like a solid, like, bread. You know?
Yeah. You're drinking a meal.
Yeah,
you just get really full.
This is thick, but it's also very strong, so it kind of makes it like an interesting texture almost. But
it's more of a sipper because it's so strong tasting and it's like really thick. You're not like slamming it, you know.
It's a sipper for sure. You don't want to pound this baby.
No. Yeah, good stuff.
Really good. I suggest it. All right, so Zach, let's start off with your watch list. What have you been watching since our last episode?
All right. I finished Wormwood.
Nice.
And it is amazing. It's super, super good.
I want to check it out.
Yeah, it's one of the best things I've seen all year, I would say.
Nice. So you liked how it ended and everything?
Yeah, it's not, well, I was going to go into it, but it might be a little spoilery, so...
Oh.
I don't have a ton to say about it, I guess, because I don't want to spoil anything. I feel like I talked about it a good deal in the last one. But it definitely builds, and it definitely feels like a conclusion, which is really nice. And yeah, it's just really, the style is really cool. The way that they shoot the interviews is great. The reenactments are great. Just a really great little experimental sort of doc structure thing. Because I've never seen one that goes like so far into the recreations. Maybe they're out there, but you know.
Oh, is it more of like a documentary style? I didn't realize that.
Well, there's interviews with you know, like old footage and stuff, but then there's also they're cross-cutting between the old footage and like news clippings and this footage that they shot with like actors that like looks like a narrative film. So it's almost like the Thin Red Line, or the Thin Blue Line rather, sorry, that he did, but like pushed farther, where there's like it's like a full scene that you watch, but then you'll see in the Thin Blue Line you see it, and then you see it a little while later from the new perspective, and then again and again. And this, it's more, since it's spread over a longer period of time, sometimes you see like the whole scene, but it's like reconstructed in a different way, and like different stuff happens. But it's like between like the distance of like hours, you know, which makes it interesting. And yeah, it's super good. It's fantastic. And
definitely is on the list for me.
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes too, so it's a pretty easy, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 6 episodes, 40 minutes
That's not
each.
bad.
So it's pretty easy to, you know, conquer.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, goes down smooth, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then
or what were you got a couple that, well, I was gonna say you got a couple that you've had a new experience in your life.
Yeah.
Now you've joined a club.
Finally in the 4K club. I'm a UHD baby.
Welcome to the club.
I went a little crazy yesterday. I went and picked up the player. Went a little crazy. I was like, I'll get like 2-3 things, and then it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I get this. I get that. I can get this. It's just like,
yeah.
Got quite the stack, but you know, now I'm set up for a while, and yeah, last night I put on a bunch of them just for like 10 minutes or so each.
Just to check them out.
Yeah, checked out Blade Runner. Checked out Dunkirk.
I got that one.
Checked out Revenant. And boy, they all just look fucking amazing. It's just amazing.
Dude, it's 4K, and especially HDR. It just it really is worth the money. It's so nice.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's
so beyond anything else you'll see anywhere else, you know.
Yeah.
It's literally a better copy of the movie than you'll see in the theaters, because what they're usually given in theaters is literally a digital file, right? And it's more of a compressed file, but then they project that version. But what you're getting on a UHD Blu-ray, which a lot of people don't like understand, is like you're getting the highest quality version of that film. So
there's got to be some though that look better in the theater, like the Revenant, really. You know what I mean? Like if it's like a digital IMAX. Sorry, I dropped something.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have the sound better in the theater and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the actual file itself on the UHD Blu-ray, it's a higher, like the bit rate is like much higher than
that's
like,
crazy.
That in like a theater. Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly fucking loving it. It's fucking amazing. Also took a little look at Starship Troopers, which looked really good.
Did it?
Transfer, yeah. But nice. we christened it with Dracula last night, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
How'd that look?
Fucking amazing. I hadn't seen it in a really long time either. It looks insanely good. And it's just a fucking killer movie. Are you a fan?
Yeah, I honestly can't remember much. I've seen it forever ago, but I remember liking it.
It's like,
I remember liking it.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff that brings it down. Keanu, you know, he's not good. He's terrible in the movie. Right. It's bad. But much like the other movie I'll talk about, it was kind of like a funny double bill. It's like there's so much other stuff going on that it's like I'm okay with it. Whatever. I can look past Keanu's bad performance and just like really enjoy the rest of it because there's so much to like, you know.
Yeah.
And I forget, like, how many effects and just, like, weird techniques there are in it. It's literally, like, every minute or two, something fucking crazy is happening. It's, like, a weird overlay of the book with, like, the castle in the back. There's one where it's the book and a train going, and then the shadow of the train's like on the book, or like Dracula looks and like sees like their veins in their body like light red, or
oh yeah,
there's just all this fucking crazy shit, like stylistic stuff that's happening constantly, that it just makes it so it's fun in that way. It's like a fun version of Dracula, but not like a fun like action version, but like a fun like technique style version, you know, where it's just like so much style in it that it's just super enjoyable. And the UHD, the transfer on it,
good transfer.
Oh, it looks amazing, especially because the Blu-ray was an early one. Like, it was one of the first ones I remember getting when I got Blu-ray. And the transfer is just stinky. It's just no good.
Oh man.
So it looks fantastic. I would definitely recommend picking it up.
Very good. And then you just finished one more, right?
Literally just now finished Valerian.
How was it, man? I'm curious to see it.
It was good, and I definitely...
Really?
Yeah, I liked it. I definitely went out and bought the UHD of it and watched it. But
well, honestly, I mean, even without seeing it, it seems like a movie that would like look really good in UHD.
Oh, it looks amazing. And there's definitely the thing of like they spent more time on certain characters, or like certain textures on the aliens are hard, but the main race of aliens in the movie, like when it starts, I was like blown away by how good the effects were. They are really, really good. And
cool.
There's certain times throughout the movie, and especially one character in particular, that is like, ugh, you know? You're like, man, this is like really like a cartoon right now. But it kind of plays that up a little bit, and it looks amazing. And I will say, like I was saying, it kind of paired well in a double feature with Dracula, because just Dane DeHaan is not very good in it. And
he's not good in it?
Yeah, it kind of brings it down a little bit. And I wasn't crazy about the actress. I don't know. I can't remember her name, but she wasn't like bad, but she wasn't great. The performances were just kind of like whatever. But
Cara Delevingne.
Okay, yeah.
I believe her name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they don't bring it down enough that it like ruins it. It just kind of it has the classic thing of the setup is really good, and I was loving it for 90 minutes, and then it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then by the end you're like, all right, you know, I get it. I think I'm ready. But there's
some pretty bad scores.
Yeah. It's really weird. So I understand
but you
why
liked it.
I liked it, yeah. I thought it was fun. Like, in terms of like a big budget sci-fi movie that just came out, it's a good one, I thought.
I'm definitely curious to check it out, at least for the sci-fi element of, you know, seeing something original sci-fi. I'm curious.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff. The design is great on everything. All the sets are amazing. There's some cool sort of like unexplained rituals and sort of technology that's fun.
Clive Owen is in it?
Yeah.
I'm just seeing him on the poster. I did not realize
that. I forgot.
That's kind of amazing.
And then he shows up, and I was like, oh yeah, Clive Owen. And Rihanna. I forgot about Rihanna, too. She's in it.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of incredible.
Yeah. Clive Owen's not in it a ton, but...
Sure.
I don't know. I thought it was worth watching, and I also was not upset that I bought it. Like, I feel like if I had seen it, I probably would have bought it anyway to see how it looked on the TV.
You think it's worth the blind buy?
It was for me.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't want to make that call for you, but I thought it was worth it.
I'll definitely check it out somehow, and I'll if anything, I'll stream it in 4K, and we'll see. But
it was impressive though. I like there was some sequences that were really, really cool, and not quite like something I had seen before, which is nice. So even though it has its faults, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome, man. Well, speaking of 4K, I recently got myself a Christmas present. I decided to go ahead and splurge on the Christopher Nolan 4K collection.
Nice.
Whoo, buddy! I was super excited to get this. It actually is a very cool collection. It's like a big box. It comes with one thick, basically Blu-ray pack. Comes with all the 4K films.
Yeah.
And then you have two separate, just regular Blu-ray sets of all the bonus features. Nice. And the movies and regular Blu-ray as well. So it's cool. It gives you that too. And I popped in a lot of the movies just to check out the transfer.
Yeah.
Some of them I was a little disappointed in. Again, I can't really judge the whole film, but like ones like Batman Begins, I was like, it just looked like a regular Blu-ray. I was expecting more of like a 4K look. I mean, it looks fine, but it doesn't look like, oh my god, HDR 4K, you know. And all of them were that for the most part. I thought probably the best looking two were Inception. Looked really good. Had a really good transfer. It looked really nice and crisp. And Dunkirk looked great as well.
I popped in Dunkirk and I watched like the first 10-15 minutes last night.
Yeah.
And
that looked pretty good.
Holy shit, does it look good. Like,
if I hadn't just watched it again in theaters, I did recently. I would probably watch that, but I'll wait. I'm gonna watch it the whole thing, with 4K HDR. But I also watched Interstellar, and there were times where it didn't look the greatest, and I think that maybe the low lighting, kind of film grain look on the low lighting scenes in the beginning kind of were like too grainy. But the space shots looked amazing.
Nice.
You could clearly like see the super wide space shots where like the ship is going by Saturn and stuff, like looked amazing. So that one was good, pretty good too. So
nice.
I think the only one I didn't pop in was well, now I can't remember. There was one I didn't pop in. Anyways. Oh, I also watched Prestige. And that looked okay too. I mean, it looked like a good Blu-ray, but it didn't look like 4K to me. But
well, it's probably still an improvement over the other Bluray though.
Yeah,
because that was a really early one. So
yeah, it was. It totally was a super early Blu-ray release. So yeah, I'm sure it's an improvement. Still looks good, but I've kind of gotten spoiled at this point.
Yeah,
like I'm
totally.
spoiled now. Like I've gotten used to it, so I can tell the difference. But yeah. Anyway, it's totally worth having those movies, even though I have all of them except for Dunkirk. I don't usually. I decided like I'm not gonna try and double buy 4Ks. But I did with these because I just couldn't resist.
Yeah. I'm already out on that. I broke it immediately. So I did consciously try when I was buying my first batch to buy things that I did not have and not do all double dips. But it's like I'm sure I'm going to be double dipping a little bit. I'm going to try to resist it. But.
Well, I've also noticed like it's really hard to find an older film that's been transferred to 4K.
Yeah.
To have that as enjoyable as like a new film that came out.
Yeah.
And then that's in 4K. Like, it looks so much better. I mean, because of the technology.
Yeah.
It's not anything against the older films. It's just they didn't have that kind of technology. And you're taking something that was shot to be, on like a 4:3 screen a lot of the time and transferring it to this amazing format. It doesn't exactly translate as the same as like Valerian does. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. So, I feel like the main advantage for stuff like that is like Dracula. Where it's like the old one doesn't look great. They did a 4K remaster, and it's like, well, I could just get the Blu-ray of it, but you might as well get the 4K remaster on 4K.
Well, sure. If you don't have the movie, and if you're going to buy a movie, you might as well. I mean,
yeah. But like there's certain things like the Dark Crystal, I feel like it's apparently been like an overhaul remaster. Like they were like really remastering it. And
see, that's
like,
the difference.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Because like,
a lot of
them
them
really going out and like trying to remaster it. Sure, yeah, pick it up. It's gonna look great.
But a lot of them are just like gonna be ported over. Like here it is on a UHD disc, and I feel like it's not the same thing.
For sure. There's a lot of films that are kind of, they're just like blown up to put on a 4K disc and here you go, instead of like trying to remaster it. That's a big difference. Like I noticed with Blade Runner, they did remaster that, and that looks really, really good. And they also remastered E.T., and I talked to you about this. I texted you a couple times about this, but I bought E.T. because I couldn't resist. It's one of my favorite films of all time. But
totally,
that one didn't quite hold up. Like everything looks amazing except for like the special effects, which they clearly put in post. Like those effects stick out like a sore thumb because they're like super crisp, and it's just like it was never meant to be like that. It's nothing against the film. It's just doesn't quite transfer to like this higher format, you know. So
because it's the I'm assuming it's the special edition version. That's the 4K.
It actually wasn't. It wasn't
it's
the
not.
special edition.
Ooh, interesting.
They actually took the original film, none of that flashlight or CG ET shit. They it's the original film on 4K.
That's good.
So I was happy to get that.
Shit. Maybe I'll have to look into that.
Buddy.
Gonna have to be scopeingblu-ray.com and I read some reviews. You know what I mean?
It comes with a lot of cool special features. Comes with a CD of the soundtrack.
Nice.
And comes with a collectible booklet, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So they didn't just give you the movie. They put some effort into it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I was like, all right, totally worth getting that.
Yeah. Oh, I scoped it.
Yeah.
I was scoping it last night.
Yeah.
It's like maybe next round, you know. I'll get it eventually though. I can't hold off on that one for too long.
For sure. Another movie I watched recently. I watched in 4K on Netflix.
Yeah.
On Netflix streaming, the film Bright, starring Will Smith. This movie, if some people who know me might know that I am really into fantasy. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I've always been like a fantasy type of nerd. So that is literally the only reason why I watched this movie, because I was curious to see how it would handle the fantasy element.
Yeah. Because
it has orcs and elves and it has to deal with magic or whatever. But in today's modern society in Los Angeles with cops, like kind of a cool premise.
Yeah.
Check it out. Will Smith. Let's see.
Yeah.
Not a good movie. Not a good movie.
I've heard pretty unanimously bad things about it.
Yeah, not a good movie. It definitely had some great moments. Like there are times where to be honest, I did go into it expecting it to be kind of bad. I did hear bad things, so I was expecting it to be bad. Because of that, there were some things that I was surprised by. There were some things that like actually worked for the film. One of them being Joel Edgerton's performance and Noomi Rapace, I think how you say her name.
I'm not sure. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
though.
but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They had great performances. Like they were awesome.
Nice.
Joel Edgerton is such a good actor. Like he's such a good actor in everything, and he was really good as this orc character. Like even like just like his eyes and the little cues he gives to express emotion, like so good. Will Smith, and I blame the script for this, was not good, and I can't say it's his performance. It's the character they wrote for him. Mm-hmm. He was they tried to have some lines in there that were supposed to be quote unquote charming, but it just didn't work. Like he just came off like a super big asshole, really mean, not likable at all, and I was really turned off by that. Like he's the main character, and then you're supposed to root for him. Near the end, something happens, and just he's the dick. I don't care. So about the script too, like it just wasn't a very original fantasy story. It's something that's it's a fantasy story has very basic premise about a bunch of characters who are looped into a prophecy to be fulfilled, and they fight a bunch of guys and then come out on the end with having learned something, basically. Yeah. And it's super unoriginal, not clever at all, and I was really disappointed by that because
it's a bummer.
it's just kind of a bummer. I've seen it before. So you already have this like concept, and you can't just like make a movie based on like this kind of cool concept. Like you have to go a little further, make the script interesting, and do something like original with like the fantasy genre. Yeah, it just didn't do that. So that's kind of disappointing. But overall, I would say that it did have other moments like having pretty good action. The makeup was phenomenal. Like all the makeup on the orcs and everything looked amazing. And yeah, like really fun action scenes as well. And it looked pretty good. Like it was like not bad cinematography. So
nice.
It's the script and probably the director David Ayer, who directed Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Both terrible movies. So
he doesn't. I hadn't seen Suicide Squad, but I saw Sabotage, and it was pretty. Was that
bad too?
Pretty fucking brutal. Like,
yeah.
And it was the script, like just them. I don't know. They're just all hanging out. What the fuck are you doing, you son of a bitch? Just like this movie is yeah.
This movie's the exact same way. It's just like, well, fuck, kill you. You know, just like
yeah, really boneheaded.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's what you'll get from this movie. That's Bright. It's on Netflix. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for my watch list.
Gotcha.
We're gonna get into 2 separate films that we each saw separately, and they're great films that we just wanted to talk about and get out there on the podcast. So Zach, why don't you start with yours?
Well, I saw Paul Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread, which did not disappoint. Just a tasty morsel right there.
Oh man,
real good, really really good.
I can't wait to see it.
It's so good. It's just like undeniable. The craft of his movies, like he's just so good.
He's a master.
Yeah,
he's a master.
Truly, and I don't know. I don't want to say much about it because I don't want to spoil anything. But it has a really interesting tone. It's very mysterious the whole time, and you're kind of always wondering what's going to happen. But it's constantly kind of subverting what you think is going to happen in a certain way. It goes, I guess, like the directions the story goes aren't necessarily what you expect. And they also skip over certain things that you think would be a big thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It felt like it was 30 minutes long. Like it absolutely flew by. Yeah. Which was really surprising. Yeah, because it was a pretty long movie, but the pacing was great. It just, I was like, wow, yeah, I guess it's over. You know, fair enough. But like it's paced really, really well. Him as his own cinematographer, just killing it. Just fucking killing it.
Oh man.
It's one of his best looking movies. It looks incredible. Really? Yeah. The sets are great. The performances are great. One of the best, if not the best, score of the year. The score was absolutely amazing.
Oh my god.
Just can't. I'm raving. I can't stop raving. It's That's fantastic. Awesome. It's so good. And like I said, I don't want to go into the narrative stuff too much because it's not a mystery movie. Like it's not a mystery, but there's just like this like mood about it. Because I didn't really know anything about like what happens in the story. It's like, okay, I guess it's about this relationship, which it is, but
yeah,
it's just I don't know. You gotta see it ASAP.
I know. How are the performances?
They're fantastic, especially who's the actress? I want to look up.
You have to look it up.
I
don't think I've seen her in anything before.
Didn't think I had seen her in anything before either, and she is amazing. I mean, obviously, D-Day is fantastic as well. Vicky Creeps? Oh, she was in Hana. Interesting.
It's not anything huge.
Huh?
Not anything, like, really big.
No. Not anything huge.
But she held her own.
Yeah.
Next to
she's from Luxembourg.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. She's absolutely fantastic in it. And D-Day is to match, you know. This shit. Now I'm just looking at fucking stills and oh my god, it's so good. And the character of his sister as well, the actress who played her, she was really great too. Leslie Manville.
Yeah, Leslie Manville.
She was in it. She was amazing. She looked slightly familiar, but I don't really think I had seen her in anything before. Like, I know she was, like, around, but I was, like, aware of her, but I don't think I had seen anything that she was in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she was super great. Just all around, just Paul Thomas Anderson just killing it again. He's just the champ. The reigning champ.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see it, dude.
Yeah, it's so good.
I will say that to the listeners, once it gets wide release, that's what we're kind of waiting on for our top 10 episode. Another reason why we wanted to get another episode out to you guys before then, which is this one. I want to watch Phantom Thread, and then we'll do our top 10. Not saying, of course, it'll make it, but we'll see. I want to hold out and give it the chance.
I definitely think you should hold out and give it the chance.
All right, yeah. I've been waiting for it for ever since it was announced, probably like over a year ago. So and it's Paul Thomas Anderson. Can't resist.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. We probably won't do a feature review of it, but it will be talked about, I'm sure, either way, whether or not I loved it on the top 10 episode. So
yeah,
great. So I watched the film that Zach wasn't able to catch, and that movie was 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This was directed by Martin McDonagh, and I loved this movie. I absolutely loved it. More high praise for another film.
Yeah.
I have nothing really that bad to say about this movie. It's so good. It knows exactly what it is, and it accomplishes everything that it wants to do, and then it completely surprises you every step of the way at the same time. And I was shocked in the theater by what this movie does. Like, I was sitting there shocked by the places that it goes and the places where it finds itself and ends up, because it's so against like what you expect, but in like the best possible way. And it's almost like a meta commentary on itself. Like, it knows what it is, and it almost kind of, without fully breaking the fourth wall, looking at you, it knows what movie it is, and it knows that it's being watched by an audience, and it just fools with you. It plays with your emotions. It throws tones around like it's just like nothing. Like, it has this weird tone management where it's almost it's really shocking the way like it'll go from like extreme violence to something like extremely hilarious all in one scene. Like, it's just crazy how it does that. But for me, it completely worked, and I walked out of the movie like that was a great experience. Like, that was just like a really fun, great experience. It's about this mother whose daughter was murdered, and she's just completely filled with rage. Like, this movie is kind of about rage. It's about a lot of things, but it's about how like rage can overtake you and just completely consume you. Excuse me. And she does everything in her power to get people to like, mostly tries to get to the sheriff to look into this investigation of her daughter. And that's how she puts up the 3 billboards. But it follows like follows the sheriff, and it follows kind of his second command, played by Sam Rockwell, who his character kind of changes throughout the film. Like, he has his own arc and develops. You think he's just like a kind of a character for like comedy.
Yeah.
But he becomes so much more. And it's just really interesting to see like these three main characters, Frances McDormand, Sam Rockwell, and Woody Harrelson, all have an arc.
Yeah.
And it's just a really insane character study, and I think everyone should watch it. It will turn a lot of people off. It will make a lot of people like kind of either angry or just like think it's weird because you don't know how to feel about a lot of the things in the movie. It's very much an unorthodox film. But I was just watching it. I was like talking to myself in my head thinking this is an amazing film, and yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
I gotta check it out. I love In Bruges. Loved In Bruges.
Yeah, In Bruges is great.
It's amazing. Did not care for Seven Psychopaths.
I never saw it.
But was rooting for him. And I'm glad that he has one. He came back strong, you know.
I think Frances McDormand is incredible in this movie, and probably one of my favorite performances of the entire year.
Damn, nice.
She's amazing in this movie because she can juggle all these tones that the director is flipping with the script and like the way the scenes are, but she can completely flow with that. She stays her character. She's one character, yet she's able to fill in comedy. She's filling extreme drama. It's amazing. She's an amazing actress.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Totally worth watching for that. I think she deserves all the awards for this movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 3 Billboards. Check it out.
I got to see it.
Gotta check it, man. You gotta check it before our top 10.
Oh, it's on my list for sure.
You have to. I'm serious. Yeah. Okay, so before we get on to our featured Rant films, I do just want to mention a special deal for our listeners, Zach.
Ooh, a special deal.
I don't know if you knew, but for the listeners of the Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out this amazing service that they have, right?
Hell yeah.
It's pretty amazing. You can go to www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. That stands for Listen to Us Rant About Movies, if you didn't know. You go there and you sign up for a free 30-day trial. You can cancel it at any time, and you get a free audiobook that you can keep forever. And that's an amazing deal. It will help you out because you get a free audiobook. You can listen on the road or whatever. There's so many good books on there, and it helps us out too. So if you want to help us out and you get a free book in return, the best thing to do is to go to www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM for your free audiobook. All right, so let's move on to our featured Rant films. We're going to start it off with Lady Bird, starting right now.
I want to go where culture is, like
How
New
in the
York,
world did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the
Get
woods.
into those schools anyway.
Mom,
You can't even pass your driver's test.
because you wouldn't let me practice
The way
enough.
that you work, or the way that you don't work, you're not even worth state tuition, Christine.
My name is Lady Bird.
Well, actually, it's not, and it's ridiculous.
Call me
because your
Lady
name
Bird
is
like
Christine.
you said you would.
You should just go to City College. You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it from the top. I'll repeat myself and say that we will be spoiling Lady Bird. We're going to be spoiling Disaster Artist and then Shape of Water as well. So you can skip ahead to these films if you've seen them and whatnot. But about Lady Bird, I saw this film. It feels like maybe a few weeks for me.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach, what'd you think? What'd you think of Lady Bird?
I thought it was great. It seems like there's not much to not like about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very likable movie, which I think is why it's doing so good. And it's great. It's really good. The performances are great. It's well written, well directed, good pace. Looks good.
Yeah. I agree. I it takes like the type of film that we've seen before, like the kind of girl coming of age film, comedy type. We've seen it many times, but I feel like this is like the best form of that type of movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like has these amazing performances. It has just great comedy with great drama and really amazing script, right? Like just
it's a great script, and Greta has proven herself a great director.
I know, first time being a director for a film. This is quite a send off.
Totally.
As a debut, like good for Greta Gerwig. She's amazing.
Is this the first thing she did? Or did she have some? Because I know
she
technically
co-directed a film.
Okay, yeah, because I know she was part of the whole mumblecore thing. So I was like, well,
yeah,
you know what I mean. I just didn't know.
Yeah. She co-directed a feature film before, but this is her first feature film solo.
Okay, cool.
And one that she wrote and directed by herself.
Yeah, totally.
So, and she's written stuff before, but yeah, I think it was just a fantastic film. Clearly, somewhat autobiographical elements in there, you know. But it was greatly performed by such great performances by like Saoirse Ronan, the main character, Laurie Metcalf, Tracy Letts.
Yeah, loved Tracy Letts in it. He was really good.
Yeah, he was great.
And Laurie Metcalf played the mom, right? She was the mom. Yeah, she was amazing.
And Lucas Hedges is like finding himself in like everything good.
Yeah, he's the boyfriend.
Yeah, he was the boyfriend. One of the boyfriends. Yeah. By the way, mentioned earlier, he was really good in 3 Billboards.
Oh yeah, he's in 3 Billboards.
He was in that too. Yeah, he was in that too. But yeah, I mean, it's just like a great movie, man. It has so much going for it, and I'm kind of disappointed that Greta Gerwig didn't get the Golden Globe nomination.
Yeah, it's pretty lame.
Best Director or anything like that. Like,
come on,
you know?
Yeah, she's awesome. Just always rooting for Greta.
Yeah, for sure. But since we can talk spoilers, is there anything you want to like talk about specific? Like, I mean, I kind of thought like Lucas Hedges, that whole like reveal, with him and like him going up to her and you know, outside the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
Like him kind of crying on her shoulder and stuff. Like that was so good.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reveal of that, and then how she's just kind of, you know, helps him out.
She understands. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was really good. And the joke of the crossing out of the name on the wall is really funny.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Like having the names of the boys, that was really funny. Adds like such good personality to it.
I really liked the friend character. Julie, I think her name is.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Did you know that's Jonah Hill's sister?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She did a good job.
Yeah, she's awesome. I thought she was great. Man, Jonah Hill's sister. I guess I can see it now that I'm like on her IMDb.
Right?
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I really liked her character and their dynamic and like the, you know, the sort of classic, but the thing of her, you know, hanging out with like the cool kids or whatever, and you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Then that dynamic and it coming back at the end and them kind of like reconnecting was really great.
I like this movie too because I feel like even though obviously I wasn't a girl going through these types of problems or anything else like of this nature, I can still relate to a lot of the film, you know? Like,
oh, definitely.
I can relate to, you know, the popular kid thing, having your own friends and like rebelling against parents and you know, it's just like such a fucking crazy time in life. I think a lot of people can relate to a lot of the things that she feels and like goes through.
Oh, definitely.
that's what makes it like so good. Like that's why
it's definitely
everyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, that's definitely a big strength of it. It's just like, it's like we're not, we weren't teenage girls, but it's a very relatable movie and
very relatable,
really well written, well directed as well, but just a really good script. And I liked the sense of time in it and the passage of time and like the way really you could almost tell. Or I don't know if there were, but there were like certain scenes that were really short where you just kind of like catch a glimpse of a moment and you think it's the start of a new scene and then it just cuts away and like that's it. And it's like, I don't know if that came out of the movie being long and trimming scenes and then holding on to these moments of what there was in the script or if that was the way it was constructed. But I feel like that gave it a really good feel of like the passage of time and almost like just memories. There was some cool editing going on there that I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, really good editing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it had a really good pace. I can't wait to watch it again. It's such like a fun, enjoyable film to put in and just like watch because it's so funny, and it's almost like you feel for the mom too, who's incredible. She's amazing.
Definitely, she's great. Which
I feel for her too. Go ahead.
I didn't recognize her from much, except for Tim and Eric's Bedtime Stories. That's what I remembered her from.
Yeah.
She was in the John C. Reilly episode, but now looking at her page, she's been in a lot.
Yeah, she's done like a lot of smaller stuff.
Yeah, she's really good. She gave
the performance of a lifetime, dude. Like she was so good.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
She's so, and it's funny because that's how like Lucas Hedges describes her, right? She's so warm yet so intense, and like Saoirse Ronan's like, how can she be both? But she is. She is that character and is able to be extremely intense and like just like that mom figure that's just like calm down,
Yeah, totally.
But also like so warm and loving at the same time. She just like wants the best for her, and that's just such a hard balance to act, and good for her. It's a really incredible performance.
Definitely.
And like Saoirse Ronan's character, Lady Bird, is like such an asshole through a lot of the movie, right?
Yeah, but
But at the same time, it's like that's that age. She's young.
Yeah.
She's like 16. She's a fucking kid. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah, totally.
But there are times where you're just like, she is extremely like kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And there are other times where she redeems herself, and you find that in that time, it's like that's how it was, and it totally captures that time in life, I think, really well. Better than like most films like get coming of age films try to do.
Definitely. It's the best one that I've seen in quite a while. Like coming of age movie. Cause it feels very honest, which is I think that just the best quality about it.
For sure.
It's just very honest.
It does.
Yeah.
And I about the ending, I really appreciated how it didn't just, it totally could have been cliche, she goes to college, she goes to the East, New York, that's where she wanted to go, and it ends in, happily ever after.
Yeah.
But I love how it like took it even further past that. Like she realizes who she was, where she comes from. She realizes like things are shitty everywhere, not just in my hometown.
Yeah.
Totally. But at least in my hometown, I had people that I like really cared about, and like there's like a magic to that too.
Yeah.
And I just really liked that detail of having her experience New York and college there, and just like also realizing how dream like it wasn't, like it was actually shitty there too. Like it's a struggle in college too. So, yeah.
No, that's great, because it does go on a little longer than I expected it to. Yeah. You expect it to just kind of be like, all right, and then she goes to college, and
Yeah, exactly.
But it was nice that they included that as well.
I agree. Yeah, I really like the movie. I think for our feature films that we're going to talk about, let's Let's give a rating for each one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What would you give Lady Bird?
4.5.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I'd give it a. I think I'd give it 5 stars.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I give that mainly 5 stars, not just for. It's not like my favorite movie of all time.
No,
you know,
but it's a 5.
like,
Yeah, it could be a 5-star
but
movie.
I think it's a 5-star film. It's such a good movie, and what it is, like a coming of age film of like what that composes of. It's the best version of that.
Yeah.
To me.
Definitely.
Like it's the best version of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like that deserves its 5 stars because it's just the best version of that. And it's just so well done. And it's so,
really great.
It's so like I feel like it's very rewatchable too. I can't wait to watch it again, you know. And I feel like it's a pretty good family movie too. It's
Definitely.
heartwarming, it's sad, it's funny. Very funny. Very funny. Even like that first scene where she just like jumps out of the car.
Yeah, totally. It's great.
It totally sets it up like this is a comedy right here. And I think I had read that some people didn't understand that, like walked out thinking like I don't get what the big deal is. It's not that funny. It's like, what are you talking about? This is
I don't know. I thought it was really funny.
Hilarious.
In
that first scene, she jumps out of the car. What do you fucking expect? Like this is setting it up to be a comedy. So I don't get that at all. But
no. Also loved the scene where they're eating the crackers, the like communion crackers.
Oh yeah, that part is so good.
Yeah, it's great.
That part is so good.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
They're just like chilling eating the communion crackers.
Yeah.
That was
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was awesome. Like such a good little like best friend moment right there.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like it just captures that age and time like so well.
Just a lot of great snippets, and it does. I feel like to a certain extent, it does almost feel like memories, not in an overpowering way, but just like subtly the editing, the way it's done. You know. Yeah,
I agree. It feels very familiar, even though I've never lived that life ever.
Yeah.
You know, even though that's not my life at all, there are things that I can relate to, and I think everyone can relate to, even from the parents' perspective.
Totally.
And I just want to say one more thing about was it Tracy Letts, the father?
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Tracy Letts. He's a great actor and a great writer.
And I just loved how he was just like such a sweet father in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's just like a good balance between him and Laurie Metcalf doing her thing. Like it's a very good movie. So I recommend everyone watch it. Lady Bird.
Totally. It's pretty objectively good. You know, like I don't understand how someone could just like not like it and think it's bad. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I think anyone can enjoy the movie. Yeah, for sure. All right, that's going to end it for Lady Bird. Let's move in to our discussion on The Disaster Artist.
Yeah. Tommy, hey.
Hey.
What's this? This is Amber, who I was telling you about.
Oh, girlfriend.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't have time for this. I'm very busy right now. I have to change really quickly and go.
Okay, is everything all right?
Yeah, everything great on my end. You heard of Konstantin Stanislavski?
Of course, yeah. He's like the greatest acting teacher of all time.
Yeah. And now he taught me acting teacher. He seen something special in me, maybe, I become a big star. So I have first class this evening.
Well, pretty sure Stanislavski's dead.
No, he's not dead. I just speak to him for your information. What do you think I speak to, girls?
No.
Okay, I'll let you know how it is, baby face. Maybe you can join me someday.
Maybe I will.
You're not so busy.
Zach, when'd you see this movie? How long ago did you see this movie?
I saw this movie a while ago. Let me see in my Letterboxd. I saw it right when it started playing in Chicago. December 3rd, so almost a month ago.
I'm gonna check mine now. You said that. Let's see here. I saw Disaster Artist on the 11th. I saw it on my birthday.
Nice.
I had a day off, so I watched it that day. I watched 3 Billboards that same day. I had a double feature. It was amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I saw Disaster Artist then, so it was, less than a month ago. I'm just gonna say I went into this movie kind of expecting it to be mean-spirited.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I don't think it was as mean-spirited as I expected. In fact, the first scene that you see is them, like, saying, listen, we respect this movie. We have a bunch of celebrities here saying that we really respect this movie. And they, like, went out of their way to do that, to make sure that you didn't think that this movie was mean-spirited anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that?
Honestly, I felt like it was kind of mean-spirited. Personally.
I disagree. I disagree.
I don't know. Like, to me, the whole thing in the beginning with the celebrities almost played against that. It's like, I don't believe that those celebrities actually respect Tommy Wiseau. I think they think it's funny. And that's not, like, necessarily a bad thing. I think that The Room is really funny. You know, it's like, I've watched it numerous times. And,
of course.
But I don't know.
It's hilariously bad.
It's like, I didn't really care for The Disaster Artist that much. I didn't think it was, like, a bad movie, but it just wasn't what I wanted out of it, I suppose. It felt like, for me, the setup was the best part. And then once they started shooting the movie, it kind of just became, like, stories from the set and just, like, weird things happening. And it felt more of a document than, like, a study about it. And for me, it's like, I like, they hired that guy to film for it, right? It's like
Yeah. So
it's like, at that point, I would rather just watch that. Like, the footage of the set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did think certain things were really funny, but
yeah,
I don't know. I do think also, for me, the things in the beginning kind of put, like, a bad taste in my mouth going in.
I can see your point of view. I don't know. I'm just gonna say I did like the movie. I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it, but I did overall like it, and I think it's I thought it was funny. And I did like how it went behind the scenes, and I agree. I think I liked the build up to the film more than the actual filming. Like, the build up was, like, very interesting. I also think James Franco did a pretty decent job of playing him.
I thought he did too.
I thought it was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
It at times it was maybe a little over the top, but it wasn't, like, exploitive to me. Like, I felt like it was that's who he is, dude. He's a weird guy. He's a weird guy.
100%.
And in the film, to the film's credit as well, this movie is based off the book that Greg Sestero wrote.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm aware.
Greg and Tommy are friends. So it's not like they went out this movie and just, like, decided to make fun of these guys, which on the outside perspective, I can see how it's like, oh yeah, a bunch of A-list celebrities come together to make fun of this, like, Z film, you know? This, like, cult film that's, like, one of the best, or considered one of the worst films ever made, and they do it, like, 50 times better. It's not exactly that, but also it's that, but also it, like, tries its best to, like, be somewhat respectful and just, like, part documentary and part, like, comedy about, like, what this is about. And it wasn't even, like, a straight comedy. It's kind of a it's a drama as well, you know. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
It's all right.
But,
I guess for me, I just wished, and I understand that it almost can't without making stuff up or embellishing.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to get into, like, him more. You know? It felt like he was kind of like, they still, like, upholded him as kind of this, like, enigma sort of weird, you know what I mean?
But we don't know anything about him.
Well, that's the thing. But I'm aware,
know.
but to me, at that point, it's like, well, I guess I didn't come out of the movie knowing anything more than I knew when I went into it, really. Emotionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, yeah.
In the long run, I guess it's not as mean-spirited as I thought it was going to be, but it still kind of was. And I was hoping, I guess it was the movie that I thought it would be, but I was hoping for it to be something different.
What were you expecting out of the movie?
Well, James Franco, his movies are so fucking weird. You know what I mean? And I felt like it was very just like a conventional movie about a making of a movie in a way.
You thought it'd be more weird.
Well, and I'm not necessarily like weird of like, I don't know, Tommy Wiseau doing some weird shit, but it felt very conventional in its filmmaking techniques. And I was hoping that James Franco would try to do something different with it. And not necessarily take liberties with what happened, but like take a little more of his own stance than the book. And I haven't read the book, but I would assume that it stays pretty close, being that it's more of a document of like what happened when they were making it. And not like an impression of this person. You know what I mean?
Which I think, that's the intention, because they don't want to. I think that's because they don't want to be disrespectful in that sense. Like, they want to follow what the book source material says is the truth, even though Tommy doesn't agree that, like, he says that the book isn't the truth. Of course he does. Of course he says that.
But, well, he also said he made it as a comedy. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you can't really trust anything he says, but it's following the book, and that's all it has. So yeah, it's a weird kind of, almost like a dramatization of real events. Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of hoping for it to be more about just like the attempt at making art, and sometimes you just fail. You know what I mean? It's like their hearts were in it. They tried. They were really trying to make something good, and in the movie, it feels like no one's really catching on until it's too late that, like, is this thing gonna fucking suck? You know what I mean? Like, when everyone's going into it, everyone's hoping that it's gonna be good. And they're genuinely trying to make something good.
Yeah.
So then to treat that as sort of just, like, a joke at times, it just kind of felt like, for me, I just, like, didn't need it. I guess I just, like, didn't need the movie to, like, it didn't justify itself existing as much. For me.
I kind of felt like when they were trying to film the movie, they were trying. They thought, like, it gave you the sense, like, if you had never seen The Room, you would think, they're making a movie. They're making a movie. Yeah. But because I've seen The Room, and most people who've seen disaster artists have seen The Room. Yeah. You see the scenes being made, and you know that the scene is not good.
Yeah, so, it's gonna be bad. Yeah.
So it's like, they're like, but they're into it. They're like, they're trying to shoot it. They're doing their thing. They're happy, but you know how that scene's gonna turn out. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it captured that sense of like what it's like to make a film, and like what it's like to be in the creative process. Like what you're doing, you think you think it's gonna be great, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it just doesn't turn out the way that you expected it to be. You know?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's about like the creative process, and
I suppose, but I felt like
trying.
It didn't really dig into anything though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
you're right.
And then the end at the premiere, it's like I understand you can't take liberties with someone that's real, like a real person and still alive in a story that happened. So I get that the movie couldn't have been like a weird impressionistic like version of Tommy Wiseau's life. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, do you really think that scene when they are at the premiere like really happened like that?
No.
Yeah, it didn't happen like that at all. No, it was probably a devastating night that was terrible. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And I feel like there's something to be said about that, and even maybe like continuing the movie past that and making it could have been longer and like been more honest. But like it just felt like it just felt weird and off to me. You know?
No, I agree. I agree with that. The ending is very weird in how it shifts it to like be like, hey, happy ending, you know? Yeah. Where it's like, these people clearly know that they're laughing at this movie. They're hysterically laughing and like making fun of it. This is terrible. And then it just like shifts and it's like, look, they're laughing. They're having a great time. That means it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like people like it even though it's a big piece of shit. And he's like, oh, I guess I can make a big piece of shit. And people like it, you know?
It's a forced happy ending.
Yeah.
That shift is so dramatic and so strange.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it works.
But like, I feel like they could have gone the route that like, okay, well, my movie isn't good, but I made a movie. You know what I mean? Because that's still an accomplishment. But
well, I think he does kind of.
It feels kind of undermined though by the weird sort of like forced endearing aspect of that scene. To me, I don't know.
Well, I think in the end, I had a good experience watching it. I mean, honestly, I mean, in a way I was disappointed, but in a way I wasn't, because I did expect it to be just like going into it, I was like, oh wow, this movie's probably just gonna straight up make fun of them.
Yeah.
And it didn't make fun of them. It like shows like these odd people trying to do like a creative thing, and it kind of goes into more of a universal aspect too that, you know, you and I can relate to, of trying to make a film and going into that and how exciting that is, and like creating something, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out in the way that you intended.
Mm-hmm.
And the backlash of that. So I don't know, it's interesting. It's an interesting movie, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. I'll probably like get it on Blu-ray.
Nice.
Yeah,
I definitely think if it succeeded at being a very watchable comedy that's funny, it's definitely funny. But
it's funny.
I think I was just hoping for it to be more than that. Yeah. And it was like the trailers. It's a little
sad too.
It's a little sad, but I feel like I was looking for more of like using him to just like explore creativity and trying to make something, and maybe like your art isn't good, but does that mean that it's not worth making? You know what I mean? It's like you should still attempt to make it. I feel like there's just a lot of concepts that they could have like explored that they didn't.
That's definitely a concept they bring up, but maybe they didn't explore it enough.
Yeah. And I guess it was, like I said earlier, it was the movie I expected it to be, but not the movie I was hoping for. And I guess I can't judge it too harshly for that, but it just kind of like played as a comedy about it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on the fringe of trying to get into those concepts, you know. It never fully develops those ideas and like really delves deep into them.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy the camaraderie between James Franco and Dave Franco. I thought that was kind of cool to see them in a movie together.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. Totally.
And some of the actors in there, some of the kind of celebrity cameos.
Zac Efron was funny. I didn't even realize that was him until
I know.
Until he came back later. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Zac Efron. Outrageous.
Yeah, that's funny. He had that small part. There's a lot of like really funny cameos. There's something about the idea that still makes me uncomfortable about the movie, I will say. I think like the idea behind it kind of... Just the idea that, well, for one, Tommy Wiseau's still alive, you know?
Yeah.
And it's about a film, like, we all know is terrible, But people do get enjoyment out of that, and yeah, there is something to be said about that, right? And that's, I think, the idea that they're trying to say is like, yeah, the room there's enjoyment. People watch it together. They have a good time watching it. It's not a good movie, but that's why they enjoy it. And I get that, but I don't know. But it's just kind of an uncomfortable territory to be in.
It's like, I get that idea, but I don't get that idea necessarily because of the movie. I just, like, have that going in for me. Like, I don't think it, like, necessarily... It just doesn't dig into anything enough. It just felt kind of like surface comedy.
In a way, it's trying to play it safe, too.
Yeah, totally.
For that reason, yeah.
And, it's uncomfortable because it's like, in order to do the movie that I hoped for, you would have to kind of take liberties with it. And be like, and do things that are more for the concept and to support themes than, like, things that people will go, this literally happened.
Right.
So, I totally understand it, but then there's also things where it's like, this definitely didn't literally happen. So, you're doing it for this, but not that. And it's a weird, sticky scenario.
Yeah. One thing I did think that it did well was expressing that frustration of Tommy Wiseau as like a person.
Mm-hmm.
I did think like that was well done, of like having it, like even Greg Sestero, played by Dave Franco, the character of Greg Sestero, like got super like frustrated by him, and like how he like did so much for him, but he still like couldn't resist, and like kind of crumbling behind his own persona, you know, his own made up persona, and like putting things back on the set. And it's it has some really interesting things about it, especially if you've known the room and you've like, I mean, you understand who he is. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. It has some really interesting concepts, but in the end, it's not a great film. It doesn't achieve greatness to think what it tries to do. Mm-hmm. In the end, it ends up kind of playing it safe. And that's probably because, again, Tommy Wiseau is alive, and Greg Sestero actually dipped his hand into this film. Like, he had some involvement, and so did Tommy. He understands. And so it's just kind of a weird thing.
I also think, for me, the casting, while I thought everyone was funny, like, I didn't think anyone was bad. Like, I didn't think, like, Seth Rogen or, like, Paul Scheer were, like, bad in the movie. But I do think that casting them in the movie makes it seem like more of a gag.
It's like half gag, half like, oh, we don't want to... Maybe this is kind of being dick right now. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It gives the vibe. It's like, well, why are you casting like all these comedy actors to be like frustrated at this guy? It just it pushes it more towards the realm of stuff that
it's just an uncomfortable territory.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable territory to play in. Because there are things that just like, maybe you shouldn't do that, you know.
Yeah.
But also it's funny because we know it's completely terrible.
Yeah.
But also the guy's there, you know, you don't want to destroy him, you know.
Totally.
You feel bad for him.
Yeah. And it's like, I laughed quite a bit. The scene...
Yeah, I laughed a lot.
I think the funniest scene in the whole movie was where he pulled up to pick up Greg for the first time. And he's like, you hang out with kids? He's like, bring football. Like, bring it with us. You know? It's like, it's hysterical. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But
I love the scene, too, when the movie premieres and they're in the limo with all, like,
all the merch. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. Like, and James Franco did a good job.
His performance was good.
Acting. It was pretty good. They actually, like, if you look closely, like, I'm sure you noticed, like, but they, like, had makeup on his cheeks to make him more like Tommy. You know?
Yeah, it looked like he had, like, a weird
square jaw.
And,
yeah, the jawline and stuff. Like, it's interesting. So, I don't know. I totally would watch it again. Like I said, I'll probably buy the Blu-ray, but, yeah, it is kind of like an uncomfortable territory film. What would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
2.5.
I feel like it was a 3 when I left the movie, but it didn't age well for me in the past month. I guess also maybe just because I've seen so many other things. But
Yeah.
What about you?
I might have to degrade mine a little bit, but I'd probably give it a 3.
Nice.
Yeah. And when I first walked out of the theater, I gave it a 3.5 on Letterboxd. Probably because I was high on it, and I did have I had a good time watching it. I had a good experience watching it. But it's just, I think maybe more of the idea behind things and kind of sitting with it.
Yeah.
It just makes me a little uncomfortable. And again, I don't think I was expecting it to be more mean-spirited, and I was happy to see that it wasn't as mean-spirited as I expected. There is a little mean-spiritedness to it, but I don't think that it is completely trying to tear these guys apart. Like, it does have a little bit of air of respect. It tries to recreate the film. It does try to make it seem like a good thing, that even though you could make a shitty film, it could still bring some kind of enjoyment out of people, even if it's like about a bad movie. So there's something to that. I give it credit for that. So yeah, I give it 3 stars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. So that's gonna end our review of The Disaster Artist. Let's go into our final review, The Shape of Water.
Chape of Water.
How was your trip? Fine. Who's security here? Just one moment, please. Security. Who's security?
Welcome to T4, sir. Yes, sir. I am Fleming, head of security. What's with your handle, sir?
Sam, I'll be in charge.
Get them out. Now they move the cylinder into the compressor. Bring it here.
So I saw this movie 1 week ago. Nice. I saw it at the Enzion. So it's probably the most fresh of the films that we've talked about tonight.
Yeah, I think I saw it on the 9th, December 9th. Been a little longer, but not bad.
That was a bit. Yeah, kind of a bit ago. What do you think? What do you think of Shape of Water, man?
I thought it was really good. Just like really enjoyable. I was a little worried, I must say. Just a little worried that it would be a little too like wrapped up in a bow, cutesy, put a button on it type thing.
Sure.
But I thought it was just a solid movie. I think there's a lot of things that I could nitpick about it, but in the end, just the enjoyment of it and just like it as entertainment value, it was great. It was super enjoyable. Didn't overstay its welcome. It looked good. The performances were good. The writing was good. Just a solid movie.
I agree. I thought the movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really, really enjoyed The Shape of Water. Like I even thought like while I was watching it, even before I got to the halfway point, I was like, wow, this is like really well made. Like the editing and everything felt like sharp. Like it felt like a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're watching a movie and you like know like, oh, this is well made right now.
Yeah.
And like it had a good pace. It had like the editing was like sharp. Writing was sharp. Really good movie. I do think that probably near the end point, I was like, it kind of hit a point where I was like, really? Like, not that I hated it. I just thought it hit a point where Guillermo like couldn't help himself on some things. Like, just like, oh, come on, stop! Like you were on a right track. Just get back
was
on
there
that.
anything
like,
specific that you're talking about?
You know, I'm probably a thick beer in right now,
yeah,
and I'm also a week removed. But I think I can't think of anything specific. But it was kind of like around the point where it's like the romance was hot and heavy already. Yeah. It wasn't that bothered me, but it was like that was going on, and then like just like I guess them living in the house and like. I don't remember the exact.
Was it the black and white musical dance sequence?
That was the start of it. I did hear that there was like a dance number in it, so that didn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, that probably would have thrown me off because I was expecting that part. But I don't know. There was like I can't remember right now, but there was one scene that kind of was like the flip point in the movie. I was like, oh, come on. Stop, you know, like, oh, this movie is like on the verge of just like complete greatness. But in the end, I think in the end, like I was okay with everything. I was okay with the movie. In the end, I really, really liked the movie. And there was just a couple moments where it was just like he couldn't help himself of like, it just didn't fit the flow of the film. Like it had this almost like this perfect flow throughout the whole film.
Mm-hmm. It gets a little hairy towards the end.
It gets hairy, and then he disturbs that flow, and then that's why it feels uncomfortable. That's why it feels off. But if that flow had just like kept going, it'd be a perfect movie.
It's like they spend a lot of. It's pretty fantastic until they break him out. Although there's one thing that I'll get to later, but and then once they get him out. I feel like it starts spending a lot of time with Michael's stool barge or whatever, and not that any of that stuff is bad, but it and then it's like their life in the apartment and like his relationship with whoever and like him eating the cat and like it's none of this is bad, but it does feel a little off balance. You know what I mean? In terms of like,
it just hits a point
if you're
where
scaling
like,
the movie like in all its parts, it's a little off weight. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like
it's hard to describe, but yeah, that's probably the best way to say it.
For me, I would have rather that time's been spent because one of my bigger problems with the movie or gripes is that I didn't feel like they spent enough time establishing the relationship. Like I could have watched her sneaking in and just like having like more somber, quiet scenes of her interacting early on with the creature, you know? I felt like it was just there was like a scene or two and then a montage and now it's like I gotta get this guy out of here. But I felt like it needed that time. It kind of brushed over the beginnings of their relationship, which was kind of a bummer for me.
I'm listening.
But that would probably be my biggest problem with it. I felt like they didn't take enough time kind of like cementing their connection before it was established.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of it hops right into hot and heavy on the relationship. It's like, whoa, and they go to places where this is not for kids, guys. Like this is a monster movie made for kids. But I like the respect that it went, and like clearly it's like a love letter to Swamp Thing or like Creature from the Black Lagoon. Totally Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Or Hellboy.
A lot of that in it. Yeah, exactly. No, but like it has some great elements like that, and I like how it like kind of lives in that world.
Yeah,
like the Cold War era. I love that.
Totally.
But yeah, the romance between the amphibian man believe they call him. Played by Doug Jones.
Doug Jones.
The Amphibian Man and Sally Hawkins goes a little too fast. I just like
it's a little too quick.
It jumps from like flirtatious friendliness to we're a couple, you know.
Yeah. And even before then, just like, what is this creature to I must break this creature out of this place immediately. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what's going on in here? Oh, here's an egg. Okay, now we're best friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a little quick.
I think my favorite aspect of the movie is that it takes like a film, kind of a genre of a film that we've seen many times, like 50s, 60s films, monster films, where Michael Shannon would clearly be the hero in those films, right?
Yeah.
But we're seeing the perspective of the people who clean up the mess and the people who are like on the outskirts of all like the quote unquote action, and seeing that perspective was really interesting, and I loved that. I loved that it took a film type that we've seen before and like had it shown from a different perspective, from the people who clean up the area after the science experiments, all that stuff. Sure. That was my favorite part of the movie, like having that perspective and then having that develop. Even past that point with Sally Hawkins was really, really, really good.
She was awesome. She was super good in the movie. All the performances were really great. Loved her. Loved Octavia Spencer. Loved Richard Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins was amazing.
His character was just great. It was a really interesting character.
His character was incredible.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things he's ever done.
Loved him going to see the pie guy and just like wanting to turn himself off from everything. And he was just a really interesting character.
Really good character.
Loved Michael Shannon. Always great. He was
amazing.
Very Michael Shannon role, but like undeniably good.
For sure.
Loved the whole thing with his dead fingers. The scene.
Oh my god.
The scene where he's in the car and it's raining and he just like tries to like break them off and it's just like weird pus and stuff. Just killer.
It keeps getting like worse. His fingers like keep getting worse throughout the film, which is like really cool. But like they keep getting worse and worse and worse until the point where it's the climax where he's reached his point and his fingers are like completely disgusting.
It's like black.
And he just like it has some gross makeup effects, but I love them.
It's so good.
How gross it gets. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, the scene where he like tries but can't, and just like weird pus, and it's like, oh fuck, like.
Yeah, it's just like these fingers are just, and then people continuously are like, "What's that smell?" You know, like they know his fingers.
Yeah, because it's just like rotting skin and flesh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
It has some amazing moments to this film.
Totally. Oh, shit.
It's super good.
I just thought of something. What was I gonna say? Oh, so where do you stand on the black and white dance number?
You know, it honestly feels a little out of place, but I didn't mind it. Honestly. I was just like, okay, I'm on board for this. You know, I'm on board for this.
For me, it's not. Or what were you saying?
I was fine with it. No, I'm sorry, that was it. In the end, like I was fine with it.
It's not like knocking off points for me, but it took me. I didn't care for it a lot, especially. I feel like they have that scene earlier on where she's on the bus, and there's the water droplets, and it like zooms into her, and then like follows the water droplets, and then the water droplets are dancing on the window and stuff. Yeah. And that kind of felt already to me like this movie's version of that scene, if that makes sense. And I really liked that scene, and I was like, oh, this is like really nice. It's like
that was a good scene.
It's evoking that same feeling, but doing it in their own way, in a small way, and then to like turn around and have the full on like scene of them dancing in the ballroom. It just felt a little off from the rest of the movie. I feel like it would have been more effective if she just attempted to sing the song, and with her, because her voice is real low, and like. That was effective, but it kind of played against it for me. And I was
no, that's totally fair.
I was also
totally fair.
really scared that he was gonna make her talk at the end. I was like, oh my god, please do not let that happen.
Yeah,
because
it
will ruin this movie. Like, it will ruin it.
I actually didn't think that, but I don't blame you. Like, I just was like assuming she would be mute the whole time. That would have been terrible.
Yeah, like,
that would have been
the second that he started to heal people, I was like, oh my fucking god, if he makes her talk, this is devastating. Like, because I'm really enjoying this.
I didn't even think about
Don't ruin this, Guillermo. Like,
yeah.
But
I don't know.
It didn't happen,
I think
so it's all good.
It was a hit that he like seriously needed though.
Yeah.
Like, I think Guillermo needed
100%.
Because again,
he'd been kind of down. Mainly, I guess mainly just fucking Crimson Peak, right?
Yeah, but even like I enjoy Pacific Rim. Like, I do like Pacific Rim.
It's a fun movie, but it's not a great movie.
But it's just not like a. Come on, he can do better.
Totally.
You know, like, he can do better than that. I don't know.
It's fun.
It's a fun like pop blockbuster.
Yeah,
like.
And that's it. It's like that.
Yeah,
that's where it ends.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's like, it's a fun movie, but for him, he's clearly capable of so much more. That
yeah, he's capable of so much more than that.
Yeah.
So he needed like a good film under his belt, and I think he got it with Shape of Water.
Totally, yeah. It feels very classic, one of his movies, which is nice.
It does.
It's like,
it feels classic. It feels classic, yeah. It feels completely new too.
Oh, totally. It just is very. It's very much him returning to like what his thing.
What he does best.
It's like directors, they have their own thing, and then they get big enough, they branch out, they try other stuff. They do a movie like, oh, I'm doing this movie or I'm doing that movie, but it's like this is your bag, really.
Yeah, this is what he does. Creatures, monsters, like
small scale, intimate, few creatures.
Yes.
Sort of surreal fantasy aspect.
Doug Jones is fucking amazing, and
he's great.
As an amphibian man, and the creature design's so cool.
So good.
And I love that it's like 98% practical. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is a real thing. He's wearing a suit. It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And you can tell it's a high budget movie, but it's not it's not over the top.
It's not flashy.
It's not flashy. Yeah, you can tell from the lighting and the costumes and the sets that it's very high budget, but it's not distracting at all. It's not like what I thought his last movie was. What was it?
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak was very much like
it
that.
It was
over the top costumes, over the top sets, like, you know what I mean?
It's a little masturbatory. It's just like, all right, we get it. It looks fucking cool. This is a concept art movie.
You have unlimited money. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. No. It was great. And Sally Hawkins, she bears it all, man. I honestly didn't expect her to bear it all.
Pretty early on too, just like scene of furious masturbation, like right in the beginning. Like,
yeah, seriously. This is not your kid's monster movie. This is very much an adult monster film. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it just real solid. Not many complaints. I think my two complaints were not.
There's some weird pacing things.
Weird pacing. Would like to see that time allocated to the beginning, or also could have watched it for longer. But I don't know. Could regret that. But And what wasn't,
it was 2 hours long.
Yeah, wasn't crazy about the musical sequence. Wasn't crazy about it.
You know what? That I don't blame you for that. It was a little out of place because it's just like, okay,
yeah.
And I do think just like the relationship could have grown in a more organic way. It just sort of like she was just like turned on by this creature, and then suddenly they're fucking. You know, like, it was just, it was just like such a flip.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, oh my god, we're going for this thing all the way, literally, right away. It's just like it was too much, but it's a complaint. But I would give this film 4.5 stars.
That's what I give it as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's just in the end, like, this movie is super well done. Performances are fucking incredible, and the masterful crafting of the entire movie really is it's amazing. It has a couple downfalls. It kind of self-indulges itself near the end. It's just like, just stop. You're almost there, and it can't help itself, but it's self-indulge and get into things that it doesn't need to get into.
Totally.
And then continues. But if it had just kept going, just stay simple. Don't go crazy. Don't get overindulgent. Would have been a perfect film, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely his best in a while. And that's it's really all you can ask for, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, solid one.
Yep, I agree. Very good movie. Definitely will buy that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Go Guillermo.
Speaking of which, where's the Hellboy 2 The Golden Army UHD? That's what I want to know. Where's that at?
Does that exist?
Where's that? Who's got that? Where's that? When's that coming out, you know? Come on.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for The Shape of Water and the rest of our films. As always, you can find other episodes of this podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. Every rating brings us to more listeners. You can email us at listentousrant@movies@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, Sean Pierce. You're the best. You too can be a producer and or supporter of this podcast by visiting our Patreon page and becoming a monthly subscriber for as little as $1 a month. Visit www.patreon.com/LTURAM podcast. Zach?
Wes.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad that we were able to talk about some of these films that we've been holding back on. And
for sure.
I can't wait for our next episode. We're going to be talking about our top 10 films of the year.
I'm excited.
Some of these might be in there. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. We'll
Who's
see,
to
buddy.
say? Who's to say? You know? We'll see.
Who's to say?
I don't have a preliminary list. I don't know yet. I might have.
You don't?
No, I totally have a preliminary list.
I totally have a list.
Yeah.
I totally have a list right now. We'll see how Phantom Thread fits in.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
All right, good talking to you, man.